Today I talk to Mohamed Saad. Mohamed is an IT and digital expert since 1991 and has more than 30 years of experience in the industry and the financial service sector. He's the Deputy CEO at Casablanca Stock Exchange in Morocco and the past president of the Moroccan IT and Digital Association. He graduated from INSEA, holds an MBA and 7 international certifications in IT, audit and governance. Mohamed Saad is also the author of several articles on IT governance, IT risks, IT standards and benchmarks, a visiting professor with national and international universities. As always, when I talk to my guests, I'm interested of what is not obvious, what is not yet written in the curriculum. I want to learn more about the human who impacts corporate integrity in their field. Let's learn from Mohamed's experience when it comes to corporate integrity in his field of expertise and also with his listed companies. I'm glad to have you here spending the next minutes together with us.
Corporate integrity, fraud, non-compliance, and cybersecurity. Would you like to understand the root causes, detect threats, and take measurements to protect the most precious assets? As a leader, you need to be prepared and stay actionable in the event of an incident. Sonja Stirnimann talks in her podcast, The Human Factor. Corporate integrity matters. To leaders and entrepreneurs who want to have impact, foster corporate integrity, and act as role models. As an international expert for corporate governance and integrity, entrepreneur, and independent board member, she knows the challenges. Let her inspire you.
So, Mohamed, I'm so impressed by the impact you had over the last 3 decades, and it's a real honor to have you here in our podcast show today. So, thank you very, very much. You are aware of the fact that I'm interested in the human having the professional role, and I will also focus on you as a person, your different roles you currently have, but also the ones you had in the past, because I know you did so many things in the past, and your own personal experience when it comes to corporate integrity. And not only me, but also our listeners are so curious to learn from you and about you.
Yes, thank you, Sonja. Thank you for the invitation. And what you're doing is much important and useful for the whole community. You're addressing an important pillar of companies' performance, that is corporate integrity. So thank you again for having chosen that topic, and I'll be willing and happy to be with you and share with you my insights.
No, that's perfect. Thank you. And somehow I think it's not even having chosen the topic. I think it's somehow a mission or a vision I'm on, because I would really like to give corporate integrity a voice, a global voice. And that's only possible with having you and all the other experts also in my show. And as you know me a little bit, I have a lot of questions and some of them are already in mind. But for today, I have a special one, especially for you, because I would like to open that podcast now with the question, what keeps you awake as the CEO of the Casablanca Stock Exchange when it comes to corporate integrity?
Okay, so that's a very important question. So just to correct, I'm the Deputy CEO, number 2 in the Casablanca Stock Exchange. No problem. And the Casablanca Stock Exchange is a century company. It was set up 1929. I know this is not a glorious date in terms of finance. Casablanca Stock Exchange is which is one of the pillar in Morocco, but also we have the objectives to spread our activities in North Africa and Southwest Africa. So, as you know, stock exchange and financial sector is very sensitive in terms of when talking about capitalization and talking about how to help companies to invest and develop their business. And most of the time, business is doing a lot of business and aiming to reach the sky could be influenced by bad behaviors. So one of the most important pillar in stock exchange that's we are in we are conducted by laws and regulations coming from the central bank, but also the market authority, but also the ministries of finance, and we have a very tight regulation, and we have to respect that regulation. But also, since stock exchanges is in the middle of their sectors, they are also not obliged, but they could also influence the companies listed on the stock exchange, but also brokers, but also investors. So we're in the middle of somewhere, and we can spread, if ever we do it good, we can spread that good practices on our environment. So investors, brokers, companies listed, individuals, etc., etc. So, and that's what we're doing. We're doing that by helping those companies to be aware of integrity. That would be in the respects of the regulation of the protection of personal data. That could be in compliance. So we are working, and we are taking that role seriously.
And when I think always we have challenges, no matter what kind of business we do, and also what kind of industry we are in. But now also, especially as a stock exchange, I could imagine that there are specific challenges you have right now, especially also now in the time period we are in. So when I ask you what keeps you awake, are there certain points that, hey, that's really something we have to focus on right now?
Yes, so that's a very interesting and important question. So for sure, this is a continuous improvement cycle that we can follow if talking about the BDCA of. So we are conducting, I'm talking especially about stock exchange, we have an annual program conducted by the compliance department, where everyone should follow a certain number of hours awareness, but also all juniors, but all new people joining stock exchange, they have to follow a certain awareness program to be trained to learn. But also we have e-learning programs, so they should go through those e-learning programs and be aware of what are the pillars, talking about corporate integrity. You know that in the stock exchange, some major roles they could not trade. That's because they are using some confidential information, so they could not trade. So we have that in our agreements. But also we are following, talking about myself, for example, I'm the deputy CEO, but I'm following the program annually. I have to follow the program and show that it is understood. If ever there are new regulations, if ever there are new procedures, that I'm aware of that, I should sign a paper that I have understood fully the risks, and this is, as I mentioned, a continuous program. We cannot sleep on our ears and say, yeah, it's okay. We have procedures and policies and everything is okay, fine. We have appointed someone who is in charge of compliance department and everything is okay. No. And all that, I would say, corpus of regulation is audited by the internal audit, and that report should also go to the audit and risk committee, which is part of the shareholders board, and it is discussed also within the shareholders board and annual meeting. So as you see, this is a bottom up program, and it is fully conducted and very, very well measured.
Perfect and integrated. So it really seems that also the three lines of defense are fully covered. So what have you experienced now over the last maybe 2.5 years? Because I think there are different experiences also out there when you look at the ACFE report, when we really saw that some kind of behavior changed due to the pandemic. So have you recognized a change in behavior too in your environment?
Well, the risk is since people, especially during the COVID crisis, most of companies, they have performed remotely. So sometimes some good practices could be forgotten meanwhile, or that's because we don't have the paper, we don't have the agreement under the eyes, and just no problem, just do this, and I'm confident about the provider or something like that. So that's not good, and we have to be aware of all that. Talking maybe about distancial and remote work, but still the measures could be there. The audit should be there. It should conduct its due diligence, and that's important. You have
Absolutely.
also some risks coming from some providers. We are not on the same level of measuring risk but also respecting policies and procedures. So some providers, they could go through the lines and they could go, through the dots, and maybe, in terms of a request for proposal, they could sometimes not to show that they are compliant to a certain law or a certain paper you're going to request. They're not going to provide you this and that. So we have to be very aware of that and scrutinize everything and be compliant to the procedures. And that's the way we can perform. Yes.
Absolutely. And that's a very good point, because that's what I see. Often people or companies just trust the provider and they outsource really important functions. And also, when we talk about cybersecurity, there are so many cases where the outsourcing partner is not yet at the maturity level we would need as an organization to make sure that we can protect our assets. What is your experience with that, with the IT outsourcing providers in your environment? What do you see? What kind of trend do you see right now there?
Well, for sure, there was a very high, growth of cybersecurity breaches, but also attacks. And as I'm the past president of the Digital and IT Association in Morocco, we have seen that, on the field, and especially coming from some small and medium companies. And we have called some from our partners, and they could provide some SOCs, an online surveillance of platforms, and many small companies benefits from that advantage coming from our partners. So for sure, and we have also conducted many webinars and many awareness programs for people to say, pay attention to this and that. When you open your firewall, pay attention to this and that. And when you let someone come into your data center, pay attention to this and that. And we have also released some white books to help people enhance their measures, but also to implement the right measures to mitigate that big risks. So yes, you're right. This is very, very important. Cybersecurity is a big risk for humanity.
And how did you, for example, what you now told me, what you implemented, was it done for you internally, or also for your listed company, that they could also have access to all these training material and awareness material? How does it work on your side?
Well, we did that just to maybe clarify. I am the past president, so I was the president of that association, okay. And we have something like 120 companies, members of that association. So we did that for that 120 companies. Okay, so maybe more than the number of companies listed on stock exchange. We have 75 companies listed. So we did it, and that was a public measures means that even those who are not members of the association, they could benefit of that program. And that was very, very interesting for the whole community. But also we conducted some awareness and training programs for chief information security officers, and but also people working on firewall settings and telecommunications. So that was a huge program during the two years COVID that enhanced our behavior towards machines and telecommunications, but also to make the business continue to perform.
That's a very good point. And I think it would also be interesting for our listeners if this information or some of the information are public, if you could send me the link and I will just put it to the show notes, and all the listeners here who would like to be, who would like to profit from your experience and the work you did together with your association, it would be very helpful. And we all would highly appreciate that if you could share that with us.
Yeah, pleasure. And
Perfect.
We have something like 30 white books covering many topics, so I'll be more than happy to share with you the link and make the audience profits from the work done.
Because sharing is caring. That's what we always say in our office here, because all the information if we can support the others, let's do that. I would like to switch now to your own experience, because we all know we are humans and sometimes also our integrity is at risk. What were the moments when your personal integrity was under pressure?
Yes. Well, we are part of the corporate integrity, and mainly talking about personal integrity. As the CEO of PricewaterhouseCoopers said, the foundation of corporate integrity is personal integrity. And we are dealing with that on day to day. Each time you're in front of someone negotiating, that could be a provider, that could be a line manager, that could be a colleague. We have to pay attention to our integrity, personal integrity. That's because sometimes we're giving the example when talking and we're behaving, and some juniors are participating and attending. You act by example, and those behavior would impact and influence others. So and when you behave that you're respecting the framework and you're respecting the right measures, you're influencing others and you're impacting the corporate integrity. So this is one of the pillar of corporate integrity, coming from personal integrity. So that's important. Acting under stress is also very critical, because sometimes we can deblock and open some doors that shouldn't be opened, but under stress we do, and this is very critical. We do it not on purpose, for sure, unconsciously, but we can, sometimes it's not good. So we have to pay attention that when under pressure in a meeting, in negotiation, when you are, I don't know, just walking, I don't know, cutting your hair and picking your phone and talking with someone, maybe giving some information, talking with someone about, a certain project, confidential information. You don't pay attention, but you're delivering some information that shouldn't be so. Opening your laptop in somewhere, in a cafe, in a train, in a cafe, and someone is looking behind. And so all these are behaviors. Most of time, for sure, it's not done on purpose, but we can put in risk our personal integrity. For sure, that's because we're responsible of what we're doing, but also the corporate integrity. So all those behavior, all that I have mentioned is part of our awareness program, and we have also that in our e-learning, talking about stock exchange e-learning programs, and we do that on a time basis, and we push that, and we say again, and just to make people aware of what they could they could risk if ever some confidential information is delivered like that. I don't know, in a street, in a cafe, in an airplane, in a train. So we have to pay attention to all that. It's not for nothing when you see football players speaking and putting their hands on their mouth. That's because any word could harm the football player or the whole team and the integrity of the whole team.
Absolutely. And what you mentioned is exactly also what we pray here. It's all about being a role model and being conscious on how we behave, because people are watching and people are trying to do the same. And if it's a good behavior, then we are fine, but they will immediately also recognize if we don't behave as we talk.
You're right.
So thank you very much also for that insight. And when we now look forward and would like to have a forecast, what do you think, or what do you see as the trends and in the potential of corporate integrity in your environment? Do you see any of them right now?
Well, to be frank with you, maybe we have to separate between big companies, or multinational, or those people. Maybe they do what they have to do, and most of the time they're compliant. They have a huge number of people respecting the laws and regulation and everything. So the problem is not coming from maybe big companies, but small and medium companies. Here's where the problem. Talking about Morocco, where something like 96% of SMEs. So those people that are totally focused on their job and their activities, and they maybe most of the time by ignorance they could do something not square and not respecting, not compliant with regulations. So that could be bribing, or that could be any misbehavior.
Absolutely.
So for this part of the economy, we have to do a lot. And what you're doing, Sonja, is great. And I would be more delighted to share it with our peers that could be in that association, or with our companies listed at Stock Exchange or whatever they are. But so we are, one of our mission, and you mentioned that we are doing that by passion. So this is very important. That's our role to play, to make those people aware, those companies aware of what they could risk if ever there's breach in the framework, and that impacts financial performance directly. The notoriety is, I think, more important than financial figures. That
Absolutely.
Could be lost in nothing. That could be lost in nothing. Just I don't know, on your website you put some information that shouldn't be, and you lost your image and your notoriety
and reputation. And
your reputation. Yes.
And but I also think is when we come to the small and mid-sized companies, it's all about going concern and going forward.
Yes.
And it's so we can lose our reputation immediately, and the financial loss is huge. And without the awareness, they will never see the risk landscape in full. And that's what we try to do also with that podcast. That we just make sure that people are more sensitized on these topics here.
You're right.
So one last question. If you could have a wish in the area of corporate integrity, what would it be?
My wish is that we can, we should hands in a pack. Everyone should be responsible on what he's doing. That could be associations, governments, club of companies. All countries, they have clubs of private sector. So we do need more awareness. We do need more programs. We do need media to talk about it. We do need more training. I doubt if you can find enough programs talking about that on websites or on medias. I'm so happy to share with you, Sonja, this topic. That's because it is important. When I was called to get in touch with you, I was very happy with it. That's because it's a very important topic, and medias are not talking about it enough. Not saying maybe we can talk about it, but it's not enough. It's part of education, corporate education. Could be about companies and cultures.
Let's change it together. Is it a deal?
Yes, let's change it together. Exactly. You're totally right. That's the word. Exactly.
Perfect.
That's the word.
No.
Yes, you're right. You're right.
So thank you very, very much for your contribution today, Mohammed. It was a pleasure to learn from your experience, and I wish you all the best for your future, also when it comes to corporate integrity. And of course, I would highly appreciate if we could also stay in contact and see how we can spread the word and change it together.
Sure, Sonja. Thank you very much for getting in touch with me, and I was very pleased to share with you my insights and my modest contribution. And for sure, we'll stay in touch and spread it around us. Yes, let's do it together. Yes, you're right.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Bye, Mohammed.
Thank you, Sonja. Have a good time.
This was the last episode before our summer break. No, we are not leaving for a holiday, and that's what I already explained when I talked about it before. We are adapting to the needs of our stakeholders. This means that we fully concentrate on the work we do in the reaction mode and the preparation mode. For the podcast, we prepare all the next interviews. For our clients, we are in the reaction mode. And as said, this was the episode number 60 of the Human Factor Corporate Integrity Matters, following the motto corporate integrity secures and empowers individuals and organizations. Thank you for listening. My name is Sonja Stirnimann and I'm your host. Stay curious, actionable and a role model. Take care and goodbye. See you after the summer months.